Welcome back to Out of the Rough. I'm Fred Arnold. I'm here with Frank D. Tomaso. Frank D. Tomaso is the chairman of the board and CEO of the Bank of Santa Clarita, an entrepreneur in the banking industry for over 30 years and very involved in our community. In fact, one thing I love about Frank and his bank that he runs is they're so involved in the community. They care about their community. They care about Californians, and so welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Fred, for having me.
I want to talk about something that's recently come up, and that is SBA financing when it comes to buying a property. And the reason why it's so important is because entrepreneurs don't have big pensions normally, and one thing they always rely on is maybe buying one piece of property, housing their business there, having a payoff when they retire, and it's part of their retirement.
Well, that is correct.
Yeah, so tell me about the SBA program.
Well, there's two types of SBA programs. There's the 504, which was actually designed for the purchase of real estate, and then there's a 7A product that can be used for purchase of real estate, but it's done on a floating rate basis. But under the 504 program, how it works is, and a bank has to be involved, and a certified development corporation, often referred to as a CDC, has to be involved in this whole transaction. What it is the bank comes in at a 50% first trust deed.
So they lend the first 50%?
They lend the first 50%.
Right.
The CDC underwrites on behalf of the SBA, and they pick up the second trust deed of 40%, and the business owner comes in with a 10% down.
And I find that absolutely remarkable that you can come in with $200,000 on a $2 million property. What a great way to fund your retirement, to build your nest egg for the future.
That's correct. And what happens is, what it allows the entrepreneur or the business owner to do is take that working capital that normally they may, on a conventional basis, put more down on a piece of property, to use that cash to facilitate the growth and of their company. Yeah,
one of the biggest challenges is capital. And not having to come in with all that capital is huge. One thing we wanted to talk about today was the fact that the SBA is allowing people to refinance their current property they currently own and take advantage of the lower rates through SBA financing. Why is that so important?
Well, what happened was in the recession, when the recession hit, property values, as you know, especially in the residential market, but in the commercial market as well, started to decline. So you have a business owner and their loan is maturing. Let's say they had a 5-year mortgage and or even a 10-year mortgage, and all of a sudden now it's up for refi. They go out and get an appraisal on that property, and it comes in lower than they anticipated, and their loan to value with regards to the debt in relation to the value of the property is squeezed, which they might have thought they had equity of, let's say, 70% or 30%, or equity at 20%, is now less than that. Maybe it's only 10%.
Right.
Well, what happens is then the bank and the business owner, they're going, how do we get past this?
Well, because you have rules. You can't just refinance it even though there's 10% equity, even though you might want to, and it makes good business sense because the person's paying on time, but you have rules. You can't necessarily do that loan if there's only 10% equity or extend the loan.
That is true, depending on the elements or the situation dealing with that particular borrower. So what happens is the government stepped in and said, for a certain period of time, because they've never done this before, they expanded the program. Again, 504 was specifically for the purchase of new real estate for the company. What they did was they said, okay, for a limited time, which actually is running out at this point toward somewhere in September of this year, and the program's been in existence for a couple of years. They allowed the business owners to refi under this program and the banks, so that no one was, the business owner was not taking that capital that they might have earmarked for working capital purposes in their business. They said that may not be a favorable transaction for them. So the government said, well, here, we've got this program under 504 for a refi, and you can do it at any time. Even if you want to anticipate, maybe in a couple of years your property needs to be reappraised or matures in a couple of years, you can actually accelerate it, get it done now, and get favorable interest rates and carry it out for another 10 years under the SBA for it.
Yeah, I think it's a great program, and it's critical you know about this program so you don't get squeezed. Rates are low, but so is unfortunately, your values come down. So a great program, SBA 504 program for both a purchase and a refinance for a limited time. We're just about out of time. I want to ask you, Frank, those that want to start a relationship with the bank, because it's very important that you have a local banker that you trust. How can they reach you?
Well, they can certainly call me directly. And look on the website. You can find my phone number, I believe, is actually posted on the website. But just call the bank and ask for me. I'll take the phone call.
Yeah.
Very open. Even if someone comes by and just knocks on the door and says, I'd like to see or talk to Frank, I'll come out and see you if I'm not in a meeting or out of the office. And the other thing is I think that everybody should realize that one of the things in business is they say, know your CPA, know your attorney, know your insurance broker, but know your banker. And
yes,
if you have a favorable relationship with your banker, things are always, life is a lot easier.
Yeah, and I enjoy our business relationship, so thank you very much, and thank you for providing the dream on the building we bought. So good stuff, good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank D. Tomaso, the CEO, Chairman of the Board and CEO of the Bank of Santa Clarita. We'll be right back.